Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So this is going to be a very quick video. I want to address what's going on with U.S. markets today and with Bitcoin. You probably have noticed that U.S. markets are not doing well today. Absolute bloodbath. Dow is down close to 800. NASDAQ down almost 400 points. And this is, of course, after a sell-off from yesterday and the last few weeks, and that's because inflation is getting worse. CPI number came out this morning and it was worse than expected, way worse than expected. So going from March to April to May, there was some hope that inflation was going to start trending down because CPI number actually went down from May or March to April. But unfortunately, it went up again from April to May. So expectation was 8.3%, and it went up to 8.6%. And even if you're measuring core inflation, you subtract off food and energy, well, two very important things. But if you subtract them off, well, it's still at 6%, which is higher than the 5.9% that was expected. So this is the reason why markets are selling off, because there was some hope from Wall Street, from traders, that things were going to get better, that Jerome Powell and the Fed and the FOMC meetings, right? They were basically stopping inflation, right? And how if things started coming down, then of course they would not have to be as aggressive with their continuing rate hikes, and markets can recover and everyone can go back to normal, basically. But that is definitely not the case, because inflation is still real. Energy price is still going up, especially with the Ukraine-Russian conflict. Oil prices are still very high. Barrels of oil is very high, right? Gasoline prices very, very, very high. So energy is definitely not coming down. If you look at food, definitely not coming down. If you did any shopping recently, you'll know that things are way more expensive. Even a gallon of milk, bread, eggs, whatever, it doesn't matter. Things have gotten a lot more expensive, right? So inflation is definitely still a real thing. That means that the next two rate hikes of 50 basis points, one that should be coming this month and one next month, right? They will probably stay where they are, because Powell already said they don't want to look at 75 basis point hikes, so they will stay. But this probably means that they will still have to be hawkish, and that rate hikes will continue after July, right? That's what it's looking like right now, which is why the markets are fearful. But how does this relate to Bitcoin? Well, if you look at Bitcoin is still holding strong. Bitcoin is still at 29.5. Yesterday when I was recording, it was about 29.7, and then after I got done recording, it came back up to about 30,000, right? So we're still holding around that point. Even with today's market sell-off, that didn't really seem to affect Bitcoin all that much. I mean, Bitcoin is still it's like 29, what is it, 29.5 or 29.7 or something, so it didn't really affect things. So and that's because I believe Bitcoin has found its bottom. I believe that the holders are not going to sell no matter what, and vast majority of people that are buying Bitcoin now are doing so because they're trying to hedge against inflation. They're trying to protect their dollar. So I would argue that the recent people, the recent investors, or the recent holders are the ones that are buying to hedge against inflation, trying to stop their dollar from devaluing into nothing, inflating to nothing, basically, right? So that is the reason why I believe Bitcoin is still holding strong, right around $30,000, even though it did not rally, did not go upwards, but it is holding much, much stronger than the NASDAQ right now and any tech stock out there. So that's definitely encouraging. And you guys know I've been showing all these metrics, models, graphs of Bitcoin, and everything is still extremely strong. The fundamentals of Bitcoin is stronger than ever. The hash rate just formed a new high. Number of addresses holding 0.1 Bitcoin, new high. Holding 1 Bitcoin, new high, right? And if you look at like the HODL wave, and you look at any of the other models out there, you could even throw in the fear greed index model, and you look at a lot of the other models that measure bottoms, measure panic times, you'll see that we're right at that bottom, just like previous times, like the COVID crash of 2020 and the bear market bottom of 2018. Very similar. So bottom line is this: inflation is probably going to get worse, and it's not just in the US, it's happening in Europe too. Europe's number, Eurozone number for CPI is not even, it's similar to the US. And we know that the ECB is now finally getting ready to raise rates to combat inflation, right? So it's not just in the US. Inflation is around the world. It's here to stay, right? And what better way to hedge against inflation? You can't just park your dollars in the bank account. It's disappearing by 8.6% right now per year. Think about it. It's almost 10% that you're losing per year. You have to put it into investment that will outperform that. And if you look at history, nothing has outperformed the dollar better than Bitcoin. Nothing. It's not even close, right? So I believe in Bitcoin. I believe Bitcoin is definitely not going anywhere. I believe as time goes on, more and more people will see that Bitcoin is the one asset you want to hold no matter what, and is the best hedge against inflation. And because of that, slowly and surely, you're going to see Bitcoin start gaining strength, gaining momentum, like all previous bottoms, right? And we will start to see it go up significantly and finally decouple from the NASDAQ and from the US markets. It kind of decoupled a little bit, but still there's a big correlation. But as time goes on, we will see that decoupling, and we'll see Bitcoin stand strong by itself and everything else not so much. All right, so that's it for this video. I want to keep it nice and short for you guys. Don't panic, hang in there. We will get through this and stick with Bitcoin. All right, smash up the like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.